I'm going to go through the roll call. Esther Quiroga, present. Estela Rodriguez, present. Angie Perez, present. Adrian Zapata, Cinta Mari, present. Juan Caballero, present. Priscilla Pantoja will not be attending. The roll call is completed.
You do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We're going to start with the approval of the minutes, please. Would you all review them? Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes if you are done?
I'll make a motion.
Anyone second it? Second. Motion carries. Minutes have been approved. Do we have, I understand we have a visitor for citizens' comment?
Yes, you do have a citizen comment.
If he needs introduction, I'll be more than glad to introduce him. Robert A. Eves, and he is the Boys and Girls Club of Laredo Director. Robert would like to speak to us in reference to the funding under the hotel motel.
Yes, so thank you for having us. Maggie Samarla joins us today. She's our Director of Resource Development Grants Programming. And so we're here today to discuss not really the promotion of our application. That is one part of it, one big part of it. But I will also speak to the other agencies that perhaps may have an item or two missing. And if and I'm speaking only for us, right, where it may be where it is almost nondescript. There are, for us at least, we know, and again, this is not for lobbying's sake, but I know for our situation, I cannot answer for what's in the packet or not in the packet. I know what's missing, which are the minutes of where I was authorized to apply for the grant, which we have, and we got from our board timely. But for whatever reason, it's not there. I know for obvious reasons, city process, and so I appreciate you all being engaged, first of all, and being part of the committee that it is quite tasking, and to re-energize it again to get the participation you need to be able to do both funding hotel motel, which we're applying for both, and the general fund. And I will say for the hotel motel application that we have in there, it is for the Juegos de Amistad, which we're in our fourth year. We started, and it's in a partnership with the Consulado de Mexico, so that he brings in kids, families from Mexico to play international games with the U.S. team on the Friday before the Grand Parade. It's a sanctioned WBCA event, just like our wine tasting, but that one is as well. So we're on the calendar. We've been since we started, and it went from only girls and boys basketball games to girls, boys volleyball games to boys, girls volleyball games. And last year we had flag football. And so we believe we're gonna keep adding to the roster so that we can bring in more families, more people to enjoy really WBCA, our event. We do have great participation from not just the Consulado, but from the city. Not to drop names, but why not? It's public comment, mayor, council, county, they all join us, and so since day one, they've been a really great partner. We fund everything out of that, all the promotions. We get a sponsor for the jerseys because we provide those free of charge to the children. They walk out with some really cool rings, and what they end up doing at each game is when it's over, there's a trophy that goes with the winner. So it goes back and forth. Now we're on year, obviously, 3, 4 in basketball, so a tag, it's almost like the Stanley Cup that keeps going around. But the unique thing that we do, for obvious reasons, during that time is that the kids meet at half court and switch and give themselves the winning, the rings that are for that year. And so that symbolic meet at the middle idea that we have with, obviously, WBCA is symbolic with us, so we want to continue that sort of idea. We ask humbly if you would look within yourselves to see what truly is material, what truly is something that is not available and not produced perhaps that you will need to make your decision. But I guarantee you that what we're missing, at least, we do have, for whatever reason, again, it just wasn't in your packets, and we do, obviously, I do as a CEO apologize for that. There's no one else that really it lands on. It's with me, and that's why I wanted to personally come over here before your meeting. I apologize for intruding, but I just wanted to show that we are very interested in this process, and we do want to go about it the correct way with just humbly asking for this to be reviewed for all agencies and approved as y'all seem fit. But if y'all, and I know it's public comment, so there's no questions, no back and forth, but again, we really appreciate your time, and we won't hold you up, and we hope and pray that you'll see favorably on not just us, but as your agenda item says, for all of the agencies that are missing their documents. Again, that bite out of the apple, since it's also a relative, well, it's a new process for sure. Different. Still not an excuse, but one that I think if you really have the agencies that are really trying to do the right thing, we ask that you look within yourselves to go ahead and see that you deem it that way. But I digress. I'll allow for your talks. We just come representing the Boys and Girls Club of Laredo, and we'll continue to. So we hope, again, if there's any more information that's needed or provided, we actually have it in hand, and that's how surprising it was when we heard that was missing, because we had it available, and it was a very engaged board of directors that approved this item. But like I said, please let us know. Thank you again, committee, Madam Chairperson, Tina, your team, and committee. God bless. Thank you all, and let us know whatever we can do to either make amends or resubmit it or whatever we got to do. Grovel was not past us. We're good with that too. Let us know what you have to do.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking
Thank you all very much. Have a great meeting. All right, guys. Thank you.
So, well, after, we have discussion for after the presentation. The whole thing is, my question was, how do you know?
It's public.
Is it public?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the whole thing is gonna be discussion of possible action of evaluation of the scores, but before we go into that, I want to discuss in reference, comment in reference to the speech that Mr. Robert East discussed. And we were talking about this a little earlier before the meeting, and we're gonna continue talking about it after the meeting. But one thing to keep in mind, and should we go ahead and wait until after the meeting? Because we did discuss a little bit earlier on, about the process. What we were talking about was, as soon as we move on to the meeting, we do want to note that the items that we're missing in most of the applications, we need to address those to the applicants. And we talked about, you don't turn it in complete, you're going to be disqualified. You turn it in complete, and you rate better, obviously. But the turning in not complete and being disqualified, I kind of did some homework, and I encourage everybody to do the same. Number one, talk to your city council member, see how he feels about that. And number two, compare with other cities what they do with the general funding applications or the hotel motel applications. Some said that they do let them know within time that they're missing information. Some said they don't. So it's gonna be a recommendation from us to see what we could do. And I want to note that because during the assessment by the city where items were missing, it does, and maybe at that time, it could have been possible to notify those entities. And in good faith, because it's not any extra job that is being done, it's already being done. And that would be something that I'm gonna mention in reference to the conversation heard by Mr. Eads. And as a disclaimer, I'm a board member for the Boys and Girls Club. I did not notify Mr. Eads, that's why I was, what's going on?
And they're public, I mean, they're public,
Right.
agendas, so maybe that's also.
But it was in reference to what we had been talking about, that especially when it's your first year, there's glitches in the system, you can't tell, we had glitches in the scoring.
Yes.
We, what we print, is that really what we receive? Do we get an actual application, or is it a digital application? So those are the things that we need to use as measures as well. That's why I wanna go back to that topic and discuss that a possible action for next year, and everybody, see what everybody's input is on that. Does
I
anybody?
agree with you. I think when I was scoring, I was having a really hard time not scoring them based on what they didn't provide in their packet, based on someone's oversight. Like, taking away from an organization was just very hard for me.
So, and I can give you all some, past, experience. So, this new scoring system was reviewed a few years ago by a committee. So again, after we finish this exercise and the general fund, I would really I would recommend putting an agenda item to discuss what next year's application process could be. That even the system that we use to score can be looked at. And then, and of course, we also mentioned inviting organizations to make sure that we hold them accountable for what they said they were gonna use, right? So that's always been something that we recommended. Now, the history on the application was before only certain items were scored, but yet we were, let's just say, example, we asked for 20 items, but we were only scoring 5. But then, when it came down to it, if you didn't submit all 20, the committee would sometimes say disqualified because it's an incomplete application. And because some of us have experience on federal and state applications, grant applications on the state and federal level, they're harsh. You miss one signature, one little check mark, they disqualify you. So I think some of that was kind of being used. And then we reevaluated that process and we said, okay, let's give everything a scoring criteria. So if they're missing something, you could at least say, okay, well, 0 points for that item because it's missing, and maybe not disqualify the whole application. But again, that is up to the committee's recommendation. That is definitely a topic that I'm gonna wanna bring up after we finish this process. I wish we would have had this, but we were really on a time crunch. Budget is around the corner for us, and even establishing this new committee and this new process took a while. Appointing y'all, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time to do all this work, because this is one of the committees that does a lot of work, right? And we really appreciate that, but we wish we would have been able to engage with y'all a little bit before. So we kind of just stuck to what had worked last time. We did do some tweaks to the general fund application as per management and council directive, because of course last budget cycle there was a lot of comments on the application and the programs on the general fund side of it. We didn't change the hotel motel too much, but maybe that's something we need to revisit, right? And that is really what is gonna be your next tasking after this. But of course, that's just some background on that.
And I think that I want to recommend that, and if you want to make a motion, I will wait until we get there, but before I forget.
Yeah.
One of the things that I And maybe we can encourage, yes, the scoring was all over the place. Do I not? Do I go back here? But wait a minute, it says no marketing plan, but then they have this, and we were all over the place, which is very time consuming, and we all have a business to run where we work. So, and you want to be fair to the entity. But there were some entities that were like, no brainers. What are they doing here? This should not be here. And that's what I want to avoid. I want that discretion to be made prior to receiving the application, and that's what we can determine how we can do that. And it was very clear. I mean, I kept on saying, you cannot read this? Why was it received? So I'm gonna like to encourage us to consider that and talk about it when we get to that point, but I wanted to mention that before I would forget. Okay, did anybody else want to add anything, or we're gonna wait? Because you said to wait until we go through this to make that recommendation?
Well, I mean, your item, so item number, did you open item number 5?
Yes, right.
So item number 5 does read discussion with possible action on evaluation, scores, and recommendation amount. I guess you could motion for something to change in the future, or to bring back a certain topic. Or as a chairman, you could always put this item in any of the agendas moving forward.
Well, I would like for our members to also, they have their input, and I'd like to hear if it's a consensus of everybody. And if you would like, if somebody else make a motion, whatever.
I say that we, as a committee, were basically tied to what's in front of us. We were given instructions, we're given set parameters that the organizations were given. The organizations also had trainings where I would assume that's the perfect forum for questions, if they had questions on the application process. But if it's strictly on the application, all items must be included, and they're not, it's very hard to oversee that. But again, mirroring your comment, I think if we are asking for the items to be graded or scored differently or less harsh, maybe we need to change the wording on the application. What must be included in the application and what could be perhaps used as additional items, supplementals for additional grading. Because I agree with the application and everything that's being requested, but disqualifying the agency just because they're not good at scanning a document. I know of an organization that it appears that they scanned a document that's two-sided into a one-sided scan, making it incomplete, but because we don't know what's missing. But again, that's just my 2 cents, and I agree with your view that we should address how strict we are being asked to be as part of the committee.
So your motion is to?
Just discussion point. No,
Okay,
no
so
motion.
discussion.
I also wanted to note that several people mentioned that they were not advised of the training for the applications. That one, at first, I had scored one low because they didn't attend, and then I saw several that said we didn't even get notice. So I don't know if everybody got notice to attend that training that you were mentioning.
Yes, so our process is we do, we send out notices to all our active, which usually are everyone, all the same nonprofits, but it's also part of our advertisement, if I'm not mistaken. So we also do a newspaper ad 2 Sundays in a row, letting them know that the application is open, kind of like a pre-bid, and we also notice that there's a mandatory training. And we put the date, the location, and everything. We've even allowed for makeup sessions. So they have all the opportunity to contact us and get that information.
So I think there were 2 or 3 that mentioned that they didn't make them.
And we always remind organizations, I have the latest information they've given me. If they change executive director, if they change contact person, it's their responsibility. There's over 40 agencies on both categories. So Dara Ramos is a person of one, a division of one, and she manages all the contracts. So it is very hard for her. I've gotten a response of, well, everyone knew we changed directors. No, not everyone knows, you know, sometimes it's just in the area in the arena that organization is
It's their
in.
obligation to.
So we always remind them, and we have a yearly pre-application training, and then we have, once everyone gets awarded, we have another training to let them know what their responsibility is now, and we let them know that they have to, and how to submit reimbursement. So we have 2 trainings a year, so they know who we are. We need to and we remind them, make sure we know who you are. And always give me at least 2 contact persons per agency, not just one. But some agencies I know are a lot smaller, so sometimes they're only,
They have one person.
some agencies are,
I've had 2 people.
some agencies are agencies of one person, and we understand that, but, you know, it is a responsibility to be on top of it.
Thank you for.
I think if I may, Madam Chair, I'll continue with comments, I think, before we take any motion. I speak for myself, this is my first rodeo, as everybody says, this is my first rodeo, first time I serve on this. And just, you know, from what I saw and from last week's meeting and what everybody was contributing, you know, to the process, just as a newcomer coming in here, just looking at this, yes, I mean, it's not a perfect world, but I also question, why couldn't have these people, we have had this all before time. Now, I know you have constraints, and probably the city doesn't decide on dates to do budget hearings and stuff, and that probably holds you back. So those are things that maybe, not only we can fix 100%, but they would be helpful to this committee or any other committee coming in here, and to those agencies as well. You receive, you say, oops, te falta esto, phone call, te falta esto, te falta lo otro. They still don't submit, well, then that's on them, right? The people holding them accountable, and then it'll be, a whole process will be a lot easier, you know? So yeah, you were right, the scores are all over the place, especially in my case, when no tienen nada, so no, why should they when somebody else did, and, you know? So
Just
you know.
one point that y'all might wanna consider, and again, we can change the process and we can change some of the way that we do this. These are competitive sealed applications, right? So allowing someone to submit documents after the application's been open or the competitiveness has been open also puts a sense of then it's not competitive, right? Because then you open it up, you let them submit. So what's gonna stop you from next year of just giving me half an application? Let me just make the deadline. They're gonna give me a chance to fill it out correctly the next time. We also have to look at those 2 things. That's why I think a few years ago, the committee had made a determination, we'll just score each item. If they didn't submit it, what? Now, let's just say, there's a budget missing. Well, that's a big item.
Yeah.
So that item might actually, fine, you take away 50 points or you take away 20 points, but then if you're not able to really understand what that application is, then yes, you can definitely score it a 0, because some items are more crucial than others, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they give you the wrong tax return or the wrong year. You say, well, okay, I can still kind of see what their financial standing is. It's not crucial for me to, you know, but if you're missing their budget or their mission or their whole activity, then you're like, well, okay, you know, then I can't even score it. So yes, there are some items that are actually weighed more than others, and some items might weigh the whole application. So that is for you all to recommend, and you can definitely make that determination. And as a committee, right now, we'll share what your averages were, and you all can determine, you know what, we feel that this shouldn't be, they should get 0, and now remind you, we do have a budget, well, we're given a budget to work at 450. There is 15,000, was it 615 of requests. So 619, so you will have to cut down some of it, right? So that might be your determining factor. Maybe it's a good application, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't fit, you're missing that component that will help you determine, is it the right application for this funding? So again, those are some of the areas that you all can look at.
Well, like today, this afternoon, when we got the Catholic Charities, oops, it was left out.
I know.
So is that right? Or, you know, I know it was a glitch in the system or something that didn't have it under hotel motel. I was looking and went, well, what am I missing? I'm like,
clicking something, I don't see Catholic Charities, you can put
Yeah,
one.
that was told by us, by our purchasing department that handles the submission. The thing is, and that it was a glitch that apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, the way they explained it to us is that the system didn't allow for them to submit 2 different applications. So then both of them had to be submitted under one category, and we didn't catch it. So they didn't catch it that it was submitted under one category because it doesn't allow you to make 2 applications. So I know staff has been working with our purchasing department to make sure that in the future we'll find another way to do that.
It's really funny, because it was in mine. Mine, it was reflecting on mine, and it had already been graded.
So maybe not.
No, because they put it on in the morning,
When
and then I was waiting for.
Because mine kicked out, mine died like yesterday, now it's shutting down.
But it just show it, so you saw it yesterday?
I had already, I don't even know when, but I completed it yesterday. So I was glad, and I went, well, I don't have to go back to it, I'm good.
So yesterday was there?
Yeah, I printed everything out yesterday. But look,
Yeah.
the good thing is, those are the glitches we're talking about.
Yes,
Those are
yes.
things that will happen, and at that moment, of course, we have to understand at that moment and make some changes or consider some changes and provisions. But I think that if the deadline is very true. People are gonna give us half an application and say, I can come back later.
Eso es muy cierto, sí.
That's a very good point, so
And, you know, with what you're describing and instructing us on and educating us on, and then to his point, yes, the application say, these are the musts, and then these are other supplemental things that you can turn in to enhance, you know. Y así podemos in the grading system. be a little bit more
And maybe,
effective.
and maybe
You
even
know?
review, do we want all these items?
All these other items.
Do they,
right?
cause, we've looked at that before, we want also the application to make sense and give you all value to make your determination. So if you all feel that there was something that, what was the purpose
Yeah.
of this? Then maybe that's something we can rethink next year and maybe no longer request it, right? Cause it's also tedious, it's a huge application, like, I printed it out. It's a huge for each of the agencies, I mean, they're big documents that we're requesting. So maybe even considering what do we really need to determine if this activity should get funded.
wouldn't it be based on the category?
Correct,
Uh-huh.
yes, so we
I
might,
mean-
yeah, we might have to revisit that too.
Okay, I mean,
Do y'all wanna go ahead and look at the spreadsheet and see we can share the scores?
yeah, please.
Now, I do wanna make one disclaimer, just, that was advised, I was hoping our legal counsel was gonna be able to, join us today, but they weren't able to make the meeting. They did advise us that after careful review of the application under hotel motel for Catholic Charities, they're letting them know that their activity does not qualify for hotel motel, as per hotel motel regulations. So just so y'all can keep that in mind, that is what they're letting us know. All the other ones were reviewed and they do feel that under the parameters, some stronger than others, but yes, that they did, qualify. I don't think we had issues with any of it, well, legally.
Okay, so are we gonna start with the Border Olympics then? Okay, so the Border Olympics, they requested 135,000. And, what was their average score?
Chair, may I make a point?
Yes.
Looking at the scoring, and looking at how much each organization is requesting, would it be wise for us to use the grade scale? If they're 80 and over, maybe we grant 100% of what they're requesting, and if they're 70, between 80 and 70, we scale down, because we need to talk about how we can cut 619 to 450.
I think that's a good recommendation, I pretty much like that.
Okay, so do you want us, we can enter that, 70 and above will gets 100%, or gets what they requested? Okay. We can do that, just so you can start looking at it. Can you add those numbers? So anything 70 or above, so like, let's say, if you start from the top bottom, go to Lyric Chamber of Commerce,
Oh, yeah.
so just add 35, the recommended amount, there, just put 35? Sorry, just put 100% of what they're requesting. Then go all the way down to Martha Washington Society.
Is that,
Oh, no,
no,
go down.
Bluetooth.
it's which one? Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
I don't agree with one of them though, completely.
Oh, and we can tweak it.
Yeah.
So, put 25 there?
I don't agree with, you know what, I'm gonna have to resend my comment.
And it's a starting point,
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
tweak it.
I like to resend my comment because based on the criteria, it would be, I guess, like you said, maybe we can tweak it, but it's like a big tweak here. Because there's one that, as much homework as I did and as much, in my opinion, it didn't even measure close to the amount, and I'm talking about the Webb County Heritage Foundation. And based on the information they provided and their measures, I felt like 10,000 would have been more than enough. And in consulting with my city council member, one of the things that he said was, in the past, the awarding has been, the money has been awarded and the criteria wasn't followed to the T. And then we have people coming to us and complaining to us, well, why did they get it and we didn't get it? When we actually do have more information that supports the funding to the hotel motel. So having the responsibility of doing the right thing, because our council members are gonna be faced with this decision. And I totally do not agree that the Webb County Heritage qualifies at all for the 90,000 at all. And my recommendation is not even 10%, but yeah, 10% or a little bit more. So that's where I am at with going with above 70s, you know.
But legal didn't disqualify this one, right?
It doesn't have to be legal, it's our scoring that does, and I have the supported information.
And I was just wondering, because I know we said a little while ago that legal did look at the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but they're totally
Right.
disqualified, they're not. Webb County Heritage is not.
Criteria for
Yeah.
hotel motel.
So right now, just with those 4 agencies, you're at 325. Sorry, I should just look this way. You're at 225.
Yeah.
That's half of your budget with 4 agencies, so, but again, open for discussion, if there's any more tweaks that you all wanna do to those scores.
Just by looking at this category, I second your comment on individually looking at the organizations right now being assessed, yes.
So, do we start at the top then with Border Olympics and then take it down one by one? So the Border Olympics requested 135, the average score is 5671. And the average score, can somebody support or comment on this? Anybody want to comment on that? Is it, with by any chance, did they indicate where the funds are gonna be going to? I think where they wanted the funds to go to was not qualifying.
To me, it was.
It wasn't a qualifying expense, they wanted the funds to go to,
The trophies and all that stuff.
Upgrades, magazine, TV, internet, marketing.
But they do bring a lot of people from
They
out
do,
of town.
they do.
And they've been at it for years.
they do bring a lot of.
They have a lot of events at the golf course, at different places.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And where they say,
Well,
where they say use of funds, if I'm not mistaken, and I wrote kind of like my assessments down, it was not supported in every statement, every piece of information that they wrote in. For example, Border Olympics, referees and umpires, and there was a category of 80,000. Security, 7,000. Third-party funding, hotel advertising and promotional expenses did qualify them for 10,000, up to 14,000. Producing hotels and beds, athletes' meals, 35,000. The University of Golf, there were two notices on the cost of the University of Golf. So you have an abundance, it's repeated amount, so it's really minus 20,000, because that was both
twice.
twice. And I checked it and I went, why did they do that? Probably a typo.
Yes.
So I figured, okay, that needs to be rectified. I felt that, my opinion only, and these are my notes, I felt that based on all the detailed information and supporting their totals, we do know they bring hundreds and hundreds of room nights. I think that where they wanted to allot the money was not,
Yeah, for that.
the awards, 11,000 was not a qualifier. Athletes' meals, yes, that was a qualifier, and based on what it says, 35,000. My recommendation is to definitely bring that down.
Yes.
And I need to hear what you all found, what else you wanted to support it,
100.
200?
Yeah, based on the deductions, I came to the
Mhm.
conclusions of deduction, got 20, 30 here, so
Mhm.
100,
We can
Uh-huh.
punch it in.
Huh?
We can punch it in.
Right.
I don't know.
I would recommend, good, I like that 100,000. Are we all in agreement with
Yes,
100,000?
because you took out the
For now,
county,
for now.
that was a
We took
duplicate.
out
duplicate.
the duplicate, and then the trophies, and then we have referees and umpires,
That's very expensive,
80,000.
that's very expensive.
And that should not, but that's not noted here as a reason for the funding. So that's why we were all over the place. It was very difficult to narrow it down. 80,000 for referees, they have to be there to make the event happen.
Right.
So I was, okay, referees, they have to be there to make the event happening. Are they local referees or out-of-town referees? No support for that. Are those referees heads and beds? Without the referees, that event cannot occur. That is an event that brings in people from out of town. So I thought maybe it's hard. 100,000, we know that they bring heads and beds, but where they wanted to allot the money to was not exactly 100% a qualifier. So
Because
are
they get
we,
other funding.
they're gonna be,
Yes,
actually,
they get other funding.
to be very honest with you, they're in the other category, and they are gonna get more funding.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we should bring it down a little bit, because we do need money for some other ones. Maybe I would say to 80,000, or is that too short? Is that too little for you
We'll
all?
find out in a little bit.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just put Border Olympics for 80 for right now,
Right.
and then we'll see where we are. The next one would be Boys and Girls Club, and I have to refrain from that one.
I did that.
I think they're not asking a lot, and they do a lot for the community and for them.
Do you agree with the 20,000?
Yes, I think that's very fair, it's one of the lowest requests. and-
Anybody else want to
I don't
agree with that?
remember, do you have the notes?
It was a very good
So
application.
the Boys and Girls Club
But they
was,
were
But they were
missing.
Yes,
missing
they
their
were missing.
marketing.
they were missing in their
And
marketing plan and their
I'm trying to
minutes.
remember where those, extra 10,000 was going to. Was it again under applicable criteria of the hotel was extra $10,000?
I have a full printout, do you all wanna
Okay,
see
just
it?
kind of look for the.
Yeah,
page
well,
or-
so here,
Or the
they're
price,
saying, they estimate the 20 to be, 18,000 for leagues and 2,000 for advertising.
What do you
For
mean
the
by
leads?
leads?
They have a tournament or something, right, where they're bringing in people from out of town?
Correct.
He was talking about it, right?
Yeah, some amigos.
Uh-huh.
So that's a new, new part.
So the leagues, they describe it, Juegos de Amistad.
Right. That was he was
5
talking
youth athletic games between the US and Mexico, 2 flag football games, 1 volleyball game to grow the relationship between both countries and increase visitors to Laredo.
So that's what
That's what, so
the
18,
$10,000 is gonna go to? The
yeah,
extra
18 for that and then 2,000 for the,
But they're currently,
advertising.
we're getting 10.
Well, they're currently getting 10,
Yeah,
they're
so we're
asking for
doubling
20,
20,
right?
so the extra 10,000 is to those, towards those 18,000 for the,
Mhm.
for the programs?
Yes, and I don't, do you remember what they're charging us currently? Like, what do they use those 10,000 for? Do you remember there? 'Cause, aside from this, we still, even when they get awarded, we make sure that the expenses that they ask us to reimburse are qualified.
Mhm.
So sometimes we do get, you know, cause sometimes they're vague, right, it's a league. And then, so if it's still, if it's under that something doesn't qualify, we go back to them and tell them this doesn't qualify. So we also verify all the expenses. But I can give you an idea of what they're using those funds for right now, or requesting reimbursement.
So currently, They just have sports and advertisements. Sports is 8,750
For hotel, it's a hotel motel,
for
right?
hotel hotels.
Do you remember what they've asked you to
It's like
reimburse?
supplies, uniforms, anything that's involved with the sport.
Okay,
So it did change from this one.
okay. So I'm,
Should we meet in the middle?
I was kind of thinking that, like, because there needs to be, well, it doesn't need to be, but if we're talking about, holding, some of these applications up for, you know, errors here or there, and they had some, not many, but, you know, enough that I think that there needs to be some sort of penalty.
You all tell us,
Plan, so-
I have to, I'm
So they're
not,
asking for an extra 10, so we just give them an extra 5, you said?
Extra 5.
I think an extra five's fair.
So maybe 50.
Yeah.
I just plug it in there, see what it looks like.
okay.
Do you have a form?
The next one is Catholic Charities, and that one has been disqualified.
Because it
Laredo
was-
Center for,
Yeah.
Laredo Center for the Arts. Laredo Center for the Arts is asking for 24,500, no, 70,000.
They're asking 13,000 more, so what is that 13,000 all going to, but to pay the rent to the city?
Yeah, and that cannot, you cannot use that, you cannot use those funds for that.
so currently their lease is only $10,000 a month, a year, 10,000, and they actually, we do require them, because it is a city building, we require them, they can waive those 10,000 if they are, if they make repairs to the building, so they can actually put it as repairs.
You can offset it.
Yes, we offset those 10,000, so in reality, there is no lease payment right now to the city.
So they want to use this for.
So Laredo Center
What's
for the
the
Arts,
extra 13,000 they're asking for extra? What's that for?
It says advertising, payroll, utilities, gallery supplies.
so payroll is not a qualifier event, and that's 50,000 already, so that's out. Payroll is not a qualifier. Supplies is 4,000. Utilities is 12,000. Advertising only is 4,000. So how do we get to the 70,000 that qualified them at the beginning? So I went, we reviewed the needs assessment, and there was no mention of any out-of-town advertising, no mention of any promotions that were directed to out-of-town markets. And for their budget and expenses report, no expenses were noted for any advertising and out-of-town promotions nor budget. Third-party funding application services, as noted on page 53, only totaled $2,000. So marketing, they stated as marketing, they shared online social media. That's where,
Was there a number attached to it?
provide us with that information.
Right, there wasn't a number attached to online social media?
Not that I have, not that I recorded.
To what,
And then you
Richard?
To the Laredo Center for the Arts. They have people signing in as visiting, but those people signing in as visiting, who drew them there? Was it their advertising efforts? Was it because they were already in town and that's something extra they want to do? Was it because an artist came in that attracted the tourism, or the event attracted the tourism?
And if you look at the average score, they're one of the lower ones.
Yeah. I would recommend 10 grand. That's my recommendation. Does anybody have a different recommendation?
Sounds good for now.
I think for advertising, they said was very limited, like to northern Mexico and locally.
They didn't provide that information.
I saw something.
I'm looking, and you know what, and I printed the,
I thought it was them that said.
It said performance.
Northern Mexico and.
so bi-monthly art market is mostly focused on art and exhibits and registry, open art studio, performance and theater and arts programming, digital marketing. It does not say the implement targeting advertising campaigns and social media to reach specific demographics and geographic regions, which are,
Yeah.
where are those? Utilize partnerships with who? It didn't say that.
I didn't say.
I'm gonna stay with the 10,000 recommendation. Anybody different? We're in agreement? Moving along, the Laredo Chamber of Commerce, 35,000.
That's a Cola Blanca, right? Is that the Cola Blanca?
A
Yeah.
bunch of it, yeah.
I think they provided proper information.
Yeah.
They supported everything with the
Yes, they
information. I think that the 35 should stand. Does anybody have a different opinion?
No.
Loretto Cultural District, that one was hard. Application has blanks, missing annual report. What grade did they get? A 46. In there, Loretto Cultural.
It was very vague, I think.
It was.
And it was sort of doing the same thing that the other one is doing, the downtown
If they
thing.
repeated and kind of doing the
Yeah,
same.
Yeah, so it was,
The historic narrative, to promote creative and cultural attractions by engaging artistic, commercial, and educational entities in order to attract citizens and visitors.
yeah,
That's it.
so you have to explain.
Their budget, entertainment 2,000, promotions 3,300, where? Wi-Fi 1,400, supplies, maintenance, websites, and Casa Ortiz. All of that total 24,500. It doesn't support it. It does not support it with any qualifier. I don't see it. Does anybody disagree? And what the amount would you like to
You're
recommend?
saying that you don't, what was that? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Which
That
one?
that doesn't qualify, what did you say?
Let me show you the budget.
Yeah,
If you don't mind, the historical narrative is not
yeah.
a qualifier. Here we go, staff roster, we're not supposed to pay for staff.
Mhm.
It says office staff, new position, assistant events at Casa Ortiz, and be available for historical tours and Casa Ortiz. Okay, that could be something, but,
They own dinners or lunches or tours or what, no one's.
Like Casa Ortiz?
yeah, and
Yeah.
they're local, and they have artists there, and they provide meals and all.
But the historical tours are done by the Webb County Heritage, no?
Yeah.
Right? Not,
Oh, really? They're the ones that do.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been to several, and I have yet to identify out-of-town people. I have not identified out-of-town
They're all
people.
local.
It's a great local social event. And I think that if there's out-of-town people, you could definitely do more with that kind of money that you were asking for. If you would focus a little bit more on that instead of supporting the entertainment of 2,000, the promotion's 3,300. Maybe that could be a criteria. The Wi-Fi and the internet, 1,400, maybe. We don't have anything to support it
No,
though.
no, they're doubling, and they're doubling from what they have now, the request.
Yeah,
They have-
so,
They gave them 12,000 this year, now they want.
no.
I would say 10.
Okay.
Casa Ortiz staff 12,000, that is not a qualifier.
I would, make it just, message just says 10,000.
I would go as, is there a reason why we would do 10? So we don't cut them out completely? Would that be, I would recommend even less. Promotions, 3,300. Wi-Fi, let's say they're doing the Wi-Fi advertising and doing the web, that's 1,400. That's,
And they only
That's not
put
even
3,300 for the promotions?
Monday?
They only put 3,300 for the promotions?
So say 5, let's get 5.
Yeah, let's do
I would
it.
recommend 5.
Put 5.
Everybody okay with the 5 for now?
For now, see what all comes out.
I think that's appropriate. So it's not a hotel, motel town.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's what the purpose of that is,
This is, which one, the cultural or CD?
Oh.
yeah.
Loreto Heat?
Laredo Heat. Okay, Laredo Heat, what are they asking for?
50.
50,000.
An extra 20.
Laredo Health Youth Soccer,
It's for team scholarships or what?
that's not a qualifier. Increase, the goal, increase number of players participating in soccer, introducing them to a sport at a younger age. Objective, with a larger number of players, we can promote our competitor programs and give opportunities to younger players to keep playing after they turn 13. Performance measures, improve online registration, link to the youth club, to the Laredo Convention and Visitors Bureau website, attendance records, and players' evaluations. So what I'm gathering is that
Now, they didn't put anything here for their games that they have?
they do bring teams in.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw it, they played Corpus this past weekend, and they felt
They
like
do
there
bring
was.
teams in.
They're always
And
playing at
this
This
SU and
expense is for
at
field
the other
rental
place.
fees, is that a hotel?
The what?
Field rental fees, registration expenses, tournament fees. Is there-
Tournament fees, yes, tournament fees, yes.
Under
Field improvement?
To approve the field?
Because it's not a historical area, if it would be historical area.
Referee expenses?
As far as I understand it, and it can be corrected by all means. They do bring heads and beds, they do advertise, they do promote, in the Peter and Monterrey and other areas to bring international
Yeah,
teams. Their request is for how much?
50.
50?
Yes.
An extra 20 from what they got this.
The rental fees, the bill rental fees, I know we did, question them. And in the past, we questioned them. It's only when they rent another field, so they would rent sometimes for some tournaments, they would need an extra field, as I understand, and they would rent at TAMU.
Yeah,
But they cannot, I mean, we cannot pay for, because they own the facility, so we could not pay for the rental fee of their own facility. But if they're doing like, because of the tournament, they need an extra field and they go
Right.
to TAMU, that one would qualify.
So Loretta,
their application was pretty good too, I think. I mean,
they were missing, I think,
They were
something.
missing something.
They noted number of hotel rooms, 350 to 400. I believe that with the teams that come in from out of town and their family members. It's up to you. What do you want to average them at? I would not do the full amount because we're
I would do
hurt.
40.
I would say 42. Are we in agreement?
But this is the youth soccer, it's not the Laredo Heat organization.
True.
It's
True.
youth soccer.
But they bring in
Soccer. No, I understand, I'm just saying, I want
Yes,
to make
yes.
understand that it's not Laredo Heat, we're
Right,
not Laredo
right.
Heat soccer, youth soccer.
According to their criteria.
But I think they have tournaments for their kids too,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do.
Yeah, they have.
And they bring a lot of,
We understand.
all right,
Difference.
yeah. Anybody? 40? Okay, I'm in agreement with 40.
Let's do 40 for now,
Which is still an increase.
because they didn't come to the
Yes.
mandatory training.
They didn't come to the mandatory training. All right, do you want to take off some more, or do we leave them at 40?
35.
40 or 35?
40 is okay, but do you want to see the other ones first?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
For now.
We're gonna leave it at 40 for now, considered also, could be 35.
Now, our budget's
Laredo
450,
Main
right?
Street,
Yeah.
Estamos, ya nos quedan 25.
so.
125,000, yeah, that's it. Let's all go home.
Laredo Main Street. The interesting thing about Laredo Main Street, if you're familiar with it, they do promote the historical area downtown and the downtown area. They do push for buildings to be updated, for the streets to be updated. They provide that. However, they have a one-time event linked to the Jamboozy. And I don't find, here it is. The Jamboozy, the bands are from out of town that I can think of, I'm not sure,
Yeah, they bring them, they have
but,
locals and
and locals and out of town. Their needs, statement pretty much stated that it is a, let me see where we printed this. It brings in hundreds of thousands of people every year, the biculture. They focus also on other, not only the Main Street event, which is the Jamboozy. They focus on the community in the downtown area, get together with businesses to celebrate and explore, to just live Laredo and recognize the downtown area.
Well, that's
So that-
25,000.
But their marketing plan for 26 isn't the same.
That's what I was gonna say.
The financial statement.
The financial
I don't
statement
know how to make
and their
it work.
marketing plan is not noted.
Oh.
So,
What were they at last year?
last year they had 30,000.
They're asking for the same.
And this year, they're,
25. I think 25 is.
That's a demerit for what's missing.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
let's get, we
Yeah,
don't know what
because
their
they're not being
finances are.
specific.
But the plan is for
Yes.
26.
Okay.
what is
I
it?
know they do a good job, but, you know,
It's only one event.
they're not even,
What is the
25 for now,
consensus?
is it
25.
25, okay.
It's almost like he can.
What did they get last year?
30.
And what were they asking for this year?
30.
Okay. Which, we're being generous, because there were some areas that they did not provide, which the marketing plan is huge.
I know, it is.
And I think we really should consider this to be a little minus,
Exactly.
because I'm gonna recommend that we go even down to 20,000. And then, if we have extra money, then we can go back to them, because it was, are we good with that, or do y'all wanna leave it at 25?
I would leave it at 25.
I think 25 is good,
You're good with 25?
yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to Princess Pocahontas. They were awarded 15,000, and according to what I have here, they're asking for 25,000. And they clearly stated in the report that it is for the stage,
Yes.
non-qualifying.
That's what they said.
I don't think that they qualify for their request. They piggybacked with the WBCA, they're under the umbrella of the WBCA, and they piggybacked with hotel stays and all.
Yeah.
How many hotel stays did they provide?
There was one organization that had like outrageous numbers of hotel stays, I don't know what. Anyway, and this one, it says that they're gonna use it for judges and,
Doesn't qualify.
yeah, I know.
According to their budget report and
Rooms and
expenses,
supplies. The supplies probably right, but not.
can't do that.
No,
Can't do
rooms and
supplies either.
supplies.
Can't do that. According to them, they're showing the revenue, and then they're showing the organizational meeting, and right here, list of activities related to the funding request is one. The pageant promotes interest in the customer's legend of the Native American cultures.
Yeah.
Do they have a separate marketing
That's what
plan?
I'm gonna show you in a minute. Budget descriptions, there's 6,000 for rooms and hotel, they want 10,000. Well, they didn't request it, they disregarded that. What they're asking for is for the stage, period.
Right.
Pageant stage, and they didn't allow the amount, that doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
So that's why I scored it a 0. It hurts because we know these people, and we love their outfits, and we love how they shine in the parade, and the girls go through a lot of training, and it's an investment in their part. I'm gonna leave it up to you.
I abstain from this one, I can't comment on this one.
Their public relations budget was reported as 2,000. Their PR was reported at 6,000 only to promote. Advertising only local. List of activities.
5,000?
Yeah, we can do 5.
Yeah, something.
5,000.
That's for the advertising that they do. I mean, because that does qualify, right?
I just saw there's also the Society of North Washington
Yes.
and WBCA.
Yeah, oh, they're all
They're all
there.
there.
They're all under the umbrella of the WBCA, which I guess they can be because they're separate entities.
Right.
Yes.
So the Pocahontas, we said 5,000?
Yeah.
So we're recommending. Okay. Moving along, we're gonna go to the Tammy U Alumni Association. Tammy U Alumni Association had a very low score,
Oh, they're missing a lot of stuff.
but I have to tell you this, they bring in graduates left and right. It's and bets with families of graduating students. And their graduation
Yes.
is twice a year.
Right.
And they host hospitality rooms for those parents coming in.
Yeah.
And they do promote and provide them with hotel
So that's what
information.
they're using the funds for?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the two
Yes, the
reception,
5,000 that they want?
receptions before the
They're
graduation.
asking for a.
Hospitality room, yeah.
Yes.
I think because the city does go through the restrictions, I think that they would make sure that the money would be applied there and not to any other tempted.
On that one, I scored very low points just because of the financial.
Me too.
So, guys,
They asked for 25, we give them 20? So that's
they're asking for, Tammy is asking for
They're currently funded at 20.
Yeah, they're asking for 25.
25.
We have 20 left.
Do we have,
We can adjust, of course, right?
can we go 15 as a demerit for not having complete information?
Yeah.
But I would,
And then reconsider maybe Border Olympics, or?
I would,
No, I don't know.
you're saying for Chami U?
But we still have the Heritage Foundation at 90.
Chami U, did we say 20 right now?
that's true.
I'm sorry, what is the consensus, or what did we say, 20?
No,
Or
15
15?
15 to 10.
Okay.
I think
For right
20's
now.
fair, yeah, but
I
yeah.
think 20 is fair too.
20.
Yeah, because they do have those, I mean, they have set events that
I do
are-
22, because I know what their marketing is like, but there's, can't be perfect, because they did not complete everything.
Right.
The Society of Martha Washington. Okay, that was another one that, as much as we want to help them, because we enjoy the events and we enjoy the commitment, there was no measures used for any of the following numbers. They said under sports-related event, it said Laredo, November 2024 event, assistance 5,030 rooms. Laredo, February 2024, 60 rooms. November, 5,000, 30 rooms. But somewhere in their report, I read that some of them were sponsored rooms.
Sponsored by membership?
You call the hotels, and the hotels will give you complimentary rooms. So my question was, where is the measure? Show me where they came from, show me, like, when you see an application like WBCA's, or you see an application like them exactly, they will answer every question before you even ask. And this one, we had no support. None of the society will seek, none. Please list the organization, government entities, and grants that have offered financial support. Well, they have 47,000 for Webb County. Paid advertising, 10,000. Well, what was the circulation and where did that go to? TV, 1,500. What was the circulation and where were the feeder cities it went to? Expected attendance monthly or annually, 1,000 annually. Please support that. Attendance, is it local, is it out of town? However, the needs statement, which is a 20-point statement, did note the following. The SMW Colonial Pageant is a unique celebration of American history. Most notably, they were exposed and received international recognition and broadcasted through medias such as 60 Minutes, Siempre en Domingo, Texas Monthly, National Geographic, Los Angeles Times, and most recently in Washington Post. Mind you, 60 Seconds, Siempre en Domingo, those are in the past. So most recently was the Washington Post. Okay, did that draw interest? We don't know, it could have. So I leave you with that to score. They do note that they do have activities between the United States and Mexico. And we don't, doesn't say, it says the ball immediately follows the pageant and offers an evening of music, food, dancing with attendees from throughout the United States and Mexico, which is the politicians mostly from Mexico, or tios and tias, and how many are from Mexico. I mean, again,
Just general statements.
general statements.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have the funds to go that route, but we're
We're okay with funds.
okay.
That-
Society
the 90,000 is
of
okay.
Martha Washington, I would like to recommend 10 grand. I don't know if anybody else wants to recommend more or less.
I'm okay with the 25.
Yeah, me too.
I can't vote on this one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
okay
give it a
with 25,
25.
based on the fact that we,
Right.
at the beginning, we said if it's over 70, that we were.
Yeah, but they're not proving the heads and beds. I'm just gonna rebuttal that. And where's the funding gonna go to? Can you tell us where the funding's gonna go to, please?
It says colonial pageant and all.
Going to the colonial pageant and ball.
Also, if I recall, just because we have 425, 450, we don't have to spend it all, is that correct?
Right.
I mean, there can be leftovers and it can go back to the hotel mode or to
It
other.
stays in the,
Yeah.
That says not to
it
motel.
still, yeah, it
So
stays
just
in the
because we have
fund balance.
450 doesn't mean we have to spend the 450.
So,
And we still have the, what's
Do you remember
the
the,
90,000.
they put colonial pageant.
That's where they want the money for.
Request What is their usual request for reimbursement?
Okay.
Is it also for like
no way.
stage or?
No, there's no way in my council. That's what it comes
I know.
I don't think that they, if they specify, if it is for the pageant, we would have to know how much advertising and if I look what they're saying, what it's for, that's a big disqualifier, but then they support some of the qualifiers. I don't say the full amount. I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna say half of them or 15,000
Okay.
is gonna be no, but I want everybody to.
Yeah, I mean,
Discuss.
based on what you're saying though, yeah. Because they don't
I
say.
still feel
it
it's
when-
25 just based off the criteria that we have.
I think so too, 20. I'm okay at 25.
We have 2 at 25, Cynthia?
I was going to go to 10.
Okay, so.
The reimbursement from this fiscal year is for material budget, fabrication labor, assembly and installation for new panels and removal, mobilization for stored materials, paint.
Basically for the, probably for the
For
adult.
stage,
For
for
the
stage for
stage.
materials, it's just one invoice that they provided.
I think I'm gonna join you, Cynthia, with 10. So 2 10s and 1 5, so the average is going to be.
Who's abstaining? You abstained, right? So there's,
My only support for the full amount is, they do bring recognition
Yeah,
to the
it's a different
city,
event.
and it's very well known outside Laredo.
But in the surrounding
I
areas.
know, yeah.
It's in the surrounding, and they do represent us in San Antonio in the parade, I
And
will say
Corpus
that.
Christi too.
But that's not what they're noting here.
Yeah, no.
They're saying that this money is
Yeah.
going for non-qualifying.
Yeah,
I'm okay with bringing it down from 25 to 20.
Okay, so the average, if we have, you're still at 25?
I'll go to 25 still, yeah.
Okay, so can we get the average? 25, 20, 10, 10, and 5?
15,
Who's the 5?
18, 15.
No, she said 5?
You said 5?
Who said 5? Did you say 5?
No, I didn't say 5.
What was yours? What was your vote?
I said 15 or 20, you know,
Okay, mine is 10.
15
Just
at
mine.
least.
Mine's 10.
So it's 30,000 and 20 and 25, what would the average amount be?
25, 20, and what else?
30,000.
Okay.
But it's 10, 10, and 10. It's 3 10,000s, 1
But you
25
have to add them,
Oh,
separately,
Yeah.
not,
I didn't
well,
see.
and then divided by the number
Yeah.
of people voting.
Right,
but
fine.
remember for the people.
So there's no 30.
We should like to do
No, there's
that.
25.
No.
It's 25?
Well, but he was 25. You
I
already
was at
have-
25.
I think those numbers are right.
You two are 25.
I have
Yeah.
1 at 20. Did you change it?
I did bring it down just for a consensus on 20, but if we're taking average,
Right.
I would like to be considered at 25.
Okay, 2 25s and 3 10s.
So 15 is the average.
And 15 for me.
Okay, so
Also-
it would be 15
So
average.
a 15,
So was it
Or
25?
225?
yes.
Oh,
And a 15, did you have me as a 15?
So instead of 10, 15?
Yeah.
So 17,000 is the average?
well, I'm not doing the
20,000.
math. Let me do the math. Is that?
19,180.
I'll put it
So
there.
You only have 5 people.
If it's
You only have 5.
30.
Yeah, that should be 25.
Is
I have 20.
There, you can
But there's
only
almost
have-
I know, there's 225.
No, 25 of us.
There's
there.
only
25 of us voting.
Ah, okay,
Six.
keep that as-
Only 5 of us.
So
voting,
take
not
off.
six.
So you got the 20?
Take
The
off
20, and then divided by 5.
Yeah, divide
The
it
whole
by
thing divided by 5.
So that's 17.
17.
I have
You divide it by 5?
17.
17.
I
It's
think I
average.
was 16.
Divide it by 5? Oh, okay.
Let me do it again. I always believe in confirmation.
So that's how much this get in.
60,000.
No, then up to the 20.
Is the average?
I'm confirming one more time.
What was the average you got?
17.
17, oh, okay.
Yep, 17.
Is that probably right?
Mm-hmm. for now. Okay, and then the WBCA, 75,000 for the WBCA.
Are we gonna do 17 for?
For this is, yeah, for the Society of Martha Washington, 17. WBCA, they literally supported every single item and backed it up with all the detailed information. My recommendation, because they're scored in every aspect, is to do the 75.
I agree.
Yes?
Yeah.
In fact, when I was looking at it, I thought they should have requested more because they were doing a lot. Final one is the Webb County Heritage
Because the pricing went up on the music.
on the music and everything. The Webb County Heritage did, I could not justify their salaries, not even half of the amount.
The WBCA.
And it was like, how on earth did we get to this point and award that? Not to insult anybody or in any way, shape, or form, but it just did not qualify. According to the criteria in the following, expected attendance monthly, 500 to 8,000. Attendants are staying in area hotels, totaling about 2,000 facilities. Can you tell me, how are you responsible for that? How did you, because they go and visit the entity? Show me where you brought those in, your efforts brought them in. How many people did you predict would attend this event, the event that they would hold? Or the events that they hold would be 10,000 annually. There was no evidence to support that, other than their notes and when people register. And it does not tell, we had an event, and the Convention and Visitors Bureau said, how many out of town? And I said, about 25. The first question was, can you prove that they're gonna be heads and beds? No, I can't. I don't know they're gonna be staying with family. I cannot justify that. So the only way that I could is by asking them to raise their hand and let me know where they stayed. Not even close. This was not even close. They do give visitors registration logs. That's what they base their information on. In reference to their budget description, 60,000 are for salaries and expenses, automatic disqualification. The 30,000 are for the Heritage Tourism Expenses Museum. That could be a qualifier. Architectural preservation, that's a qualifier. Publicity and advertising qualifier. And then visitor center publications, Laredo birthday celebration expenses. My recommendation is 30,000, depends on everybody else. That's generous. You wanna bring it down? 25?
But if they justified this amount, did they justify?
No, they did not.
Oh, okay.
No, they
You're
didn't.
saying that if it's 60 at,
Salaries.
Yeah,
That was only, they put 30,000 for, which is a qualifier.
Right.
But we have to find out, is that true, and do we have a documentation? Museum expenses, web design expenses, I'm sure that is all true. Destination training expenses, architectural preservation, I'm sure that is true. Restoration, I'm sure that is true. Expenses, publicity and advertising, and Laredo birthday
They
celebration.
do advertise a lot in locally.
did they need specific amounts for all those items that you just listed?
No, it was just all compiled into 30,000. That's why,
Oh, I got you.
It's
60 is
reimbursable.
and it's
So-
reimbursable.
Yeah, so it's reimbursable, so what they usually do is, they'll give us like the different line items, and then they group like 30,000, and then we still verify that, let's say they were to give us like a reimbursement request of one of these categories and it doesn't fall, then we tell them that's not a reimbursable
But
expense.
things went up.
So we still do that
I'd say the
extra
30,000.
check.
Yeah, but if you deduct the salaries, the rest of it is.
But here's the thing, I'm gonna pay,
How did the 90 qualify last
I'm
year?
gonna, they did it.
So salaries, have been allowed if they're tied to the activity that is approved by hotel motel. So it's not 100% of their salaries. So it's a
okay.
portion of their salaries that is tied to the museum
Yeah.
activity.
Yeah.
So, and we
Then we'll
verify
say
that, we
30,000
ask for
then.
time cards and we ask for a
Yeah.
time sheet to
Yeah.
explain what they did for those hours.
Yeah.
So that's the only way that any payroll gets qualified. I
Okay.
know we've discussed this for other agencies in the past, before I would get agencies 100% of an executive director's salary. No, it has to be tied to an activity or a
Right.
program delivery
Did
activity.
it say how much last year their,
The employees.
employee expenses, employees expenses was?
So they do say that currently, and this is just based on their budget, their estimate is salary and payroll expenses for this current year is estimated at 240.
But that's
So
for
all their
whole
salary,
year.
like, yeah, for their whole year, for all their.
Not the events.
Correct, so like all their, and I don't know off the top of my head if we have how many employees are hired with them, so
I
it's
think
200.
that's at 4 or 3, 4?
And-
Four or
So why
something.
don't I put it?
Yeah, and it's probably in here, so then from there, they're saying 60,000 of that 240 is what they're asking to get reimbursed based on the activities.
But there's no support for that activity.
Okay, no, I'm just explaining that.
I mean, I'm just, the way that I judged it was what activity we're talking about. Because I know, we're looking for it. Historical restoration and preservation activities that directly promote tourism and the hotel convention industry. Historical restoration and preservation. So my question was, are they promoting tourism in the hotel convention industry? Activities or advertising and conducting solicitation and promotional programs to encourage tourists and convention delegates to visit preserved historic sites of the museum. Convention delegates can prove that. What conventions?
Aren't they gonna have a big event this year?
It's not noted here
It's not on there.
at all.
I know they have the movie nights or whatever. Then
That's
they mention
local.
that. Yeah, that's local, that's for local people, so.
I'm gonna take a poll. What do you recommend? Any further discussion? What do you recommend, Cynthia?
25.
25?
I'm
See-
okay with 25.
25?
All is 75. And just because I think it's
That's
very
fine.
close to that.
I'm gonna go to 25.
Average it?
I might even go to 20. I'm gonna go to 20
Okay, so we have a
I'll go
20
with
30.
and 30.
and 30.
And what was yours, Adrian?
75.
I'm missing 2.
25.
25.
So what is the average?
And the other one?
Falta Mr. Caballero, ¿no?
25. We have 70, 30, 25,
Well, which one on first row? We have 6 on
and
the
20.
Oh, now you're missing.
Yeah, no, we have 6.
No, we have 6.
She had 6
add
and the
one
other
more.
one, that's what.
I'm 25.
Oh, yeah, that's true, sorry.
Okay, we have, I only
One
have
more?
5 here.
There,
Yeah.
75, Adrian.
What was the reason for the 75?
Yeah.
They've hit most of the,
Who are you
their,
missing?
their score was high on here.
Oh, okay, because their score was high, yeah.
So it's
Who are we
25?
missing?
Again.
Well, this is just one, I think you.
We only have
No, I
5.
did the 30.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's just go down.
Because she
let's
had
go again.
Let's go down.
Yeah.
She abstained last
Okay.
time, but not this time.
Sorry.
Ms. Diaz?
I was
for 30.
30. She was at 30.
Yeah, we're gonna go, well, you're the one.
25.
25. Adrian, 75.
75.
Ms.
Stella,
Rodriguez?
25.
And myself, 25. And you?
I'm gonna go to 10.
31.
Even though they scored 88?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 30. Yeah,
What
that's what we
is
had
the
said.
average?
31.
0.6.
So it's 30?
31, I guess it's.
I mean, let me go to,
People, huh?
let me go to 20.
Quita el 10 y pon un 20. Quita el 10 y pon un
30.
Round up to 35.
No, it doesn't happen that way.
So 33?
33. Okay, what is our total? 360,000. And what was our budget? 400?
450.
450.
So it says 33,000.
I'm gonna consult with you for my efficiency study.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're asking us to look for savings, there you go.
I feel that we should give the Boys and Girls Clubs the 20,000, even though they messed up or whatever. Because we have them at 15, I think we should.
And it was
give
the
them
first time that, oh, I can't.
No.
I'm sorry, I had to
Both
sustain.
the abstain. So it's four
I
of
think
us
we
to
should
be
give
a tie.
them the 20,000, because, I mean, they do a lot
Oh,
of
what's that
work.
the merit for? Can't remember.
Huh? Because they didn't turn in their minutes or something.
It was just a minutes issue.
Boys and girls?
Yeah.
The minutes?
That's what he said.
Marketing plan.
Yeah, I'll put 20,000 as
Let's
well.
say 20.
Yeah, 20,
20.
let's go to 20.
Okay, so Boys and Girls Club is at 20.
That's what they requested.
So we're
I think
gonna
it's fair.
we're gonna deduct
Oh, I don't
5,000.
agree. I don't agree with the 20. I'm sticking to my 15
Oh,
for
okay.
boys and girls. I'm sorry.
So what is the average?
So everybody's paying just 115?
Yeah, 220,
There's 4 of us.
320.
There's 4 of us only.
Yeah, cause she's,
Number
2 abstain.
yeah, 2 abstains.
So there's
So you
only
raise
4 of
those
us.
two, Dara, because there's only four, there's only
Like 4 of us.
18?
1875.
There's 4 of us only.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
for 20.
18?
Now, we do not, like Cynthia, Ms. Mara said, we do not have to use that money.
Right, right,
And that money will go to the general fund.
yeah.
Well, it stays in the hotel
it stays in the
motel,
hotel
sorry. It stays in the
Oh,
hotel
okay.
motel,
But my question was, does it carry over for next year
yes.
Yes, it is.
for these expenses? And it said it'll go to the general fund.
No, it doesn't say,
Okay, great.
no, it stays
It
in,
rolls over.
yeah, it'll stay as a hotel motel for next year.
So we would roll over how much? The difference?
2,000. 1,025.
85?
Oh, I'm sorry, the whole amount. Okay, the whole amount.
So it's becomes.
87.
87.
Oh, so my request is.
So then the Boys and Girls Club would get 18.70,
Mhm.
18,750.
Oh, put 18,750 there.
Can we make it
Yeah, she
19?
has, yeah, it's
Well,
150.
You wanna do
Yeah.
18,750?
We would need to change from the score, Ms. Mari, since she's not wanting to change it. So we're gonna respect that and we're gonna leave it at 18.7.
Okay.
Are we in agreement then that we're 87,000 credited back? I do vote in favor of it. Anybody else? Anybody opposing it?
I'm just going back over.
Oh, is it 1875? Oh, 75.
750.
You get it right?
Yeah, there.
See, it's 18.
So it's 86,250.
Total request, since we broke it almost in half. That's it. 86,000.
Where do we, analyze the cultural district for? The rural cultural districts?
Oh, they were
Oh, they were
not
really
really,
bad.
Was that the one that was really like a?
Yeah.
And they had like really,
no, they didn't.
I think we only accounted for.
Oh, yeah, that's a bunch of different stuff there.
Right,
Yeah.
and
They were
report
putting
marketing
the-
plan, no mandatory training,
Yeah.
and insurance, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the savings on top of the matter, really the issue is that they didn't complete the application. So
Which
for
turned out
next,
to be a savings.
for next year, they're gonna do better.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
More money in the
The Radio Center for the Arts. is-
And there'll be more money in there.
Yeah, more in the bank.
But we considered that a lot of them were putting in, as the employee, or salaries and stuff like that.
Some of them that did not qualify
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
particular
right.
event. They were talking about the employee.
Yeah, for the whole, yeah,
Yeah.
program.
And
Okay.
if that happens, they don't get reimbursed and it stays in the fund, right?
Correct.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, there's been times that we'll say they don't qualify and we
Okay,
end up
that's good.
giving them the full
Yeah,
amount.
so you further
Yes.
evaluate all the expenses
which I
that
think
submit,
is
which is good, yeah.
Yeah, every request comes in and we still verify that it meets and,
The criteria.
because sometimes, yes, the budget line item is very like broad,
Yeah.
but they still have to qualify.
Very good.
Great job, great effort
Great
from
job.
everybody.
Everybody.
It definitely, we have friends in almost every single organization.
Yeah.
We know that maybe there are some hard feelings before us, but But we had a job to do that was reiterated over and over again by the council member that I spoke to and by another council member that spoke to another volunteer in the committee. And it was, we need to start holding accountability.
Exactly.
And we need to be open, we need to be transparent in what we are doing. We are supporting the, giving the tools to our council members as to our decision. At the very end, they will make the final decision.
They're the ones who.
Everybody, thank you so much.
We're gonna get the phone call saying, what? You didn't do
They will get the phone
I
call.
agree with you, they will do a better job, because of how, we can't justify it if they don't tell us, if they don't justify it to us.
Yes.
Are they told why they were given or cut
No.
from,
The meetings are recorded,
okay.
so I mean, they.
But we
are smart
do
that they
want,
go
to
in
send
and listen to us.
I do wanna bring that up. I think as a courtesy, we need to let them know that they just,
So this is your recommendation to council.
Right.
So at council, we do present this, and I always encourage the committee can show up, because sometimes the council will ask members of the committee, why did you do this? I mean, you are their representative. You did really review the application, so you could also go and give comments. Sometimes some of these committees will, organizations will show up to the day of the budget. This year, they're trying to do it a little bit different. They're gonna try to have a workshop before the actual budget. So there is gonna be hopefully a budget workshop next month, and I will let you all know. And that's where I'll go present your recommendations, and then there'll be discussions. Of course, some of the organizations show up and also give their points, and then ultimately, council will balance the budget, or will present or accept your recommendation. But again, you know, your hard work, if you talk to your council members, let them know all the hard work that y'all put in, why you all support these a certain way. Once budget gets approved a certain way, I do let the agencies know. By the time they pretty much know how much they're getting, I do let them know that they will have to revise their budget, because their application and their budget becomes part of their contract. So their budget will become part of their contract. Again, we review it and we let them know. We don't ask like for line item by line item. We do let them be, but that gives us the opportunity that when the requests come in, it's reimbursable. It's not, you know, a front check, like we don't cut the check. So we still verify one more time when the requests come in. So there is accountability. We do ask for post-event reporting. We're trying to find a way that we wanna start, I don't know if we already did, we were trying to find a way to post them online on our website.
We didn't get that, did we?
The post report, no, we can share that with you.
Because that way we know,
Yeah.
you know,
We can definitely,
because we're kind of guessing.
yeah, we can definitely share what they did last year and how they performed, and basically we are trying to find a way that we can put those reports online, because I think they should be, you know,
Yeah, they
public
should be.
information. And that way it also holds them accountable for.
Any little
And it
tool
helps
will
us
help
guide.
improve the
It guides us.
process and
Yeah,
help them,
it helps
you
us
know?
guide.
Sometimes cualquier cosita, cualquier recomendación, I think will all be for the best, you know, to help them improve, how they present themselves, to take it more seriously. You know, don't just cut and paste, y el año pasado, y mándale lo, oops, you know, they're missing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
To the point of accountability and transparency.
and I think it's important to mention to those entities that there has to be consistency in the application. Anytime that we do any kind of financial report, it has to balance with page 3. If I'm noting some additional expenses on page 19, 3 is not supporting it, and neither is 27. And I found that in several applications. When you're saying it was promotions, this 3,000, but over here you noted 16,000, and then you're not balancing. That is a lot more work, and should be an automatic disqualifier, because it's not supported. What does that do? You right away raise a flag. Why is this incorrect? Are we not keeping proper It's probably just all mistakes, but we need to be more careful and take time and value this money, because this is what people that come to our town pay 4% extra for hotel taxes, so this money can be used wisely in promotion of the city events. Anybody else have any comments? That's pretty much, I
Do we
think.
need a motion?
A motion to, basically approve this, recommended, amount for hotel motel fund.
I so move.
Ms. Maris moves, second?
I'll second that.
Adrian, I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next item, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, number 7, I can't find it, I was looking for it. Discussion with possible action to notify missing documents to agencies, consideration letters once city council adopts the civic partnership and engagement budget. Do we take an action item and make a motion on that?
I don't think, I mean, I think we discussed it.
We discussed it.
I think right now, the no motion is needed
That's
on
what I
that
heard.
one anymore.
All right, noted. Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? It is 7:32.
Motion adjourned.
Adrian made the motion to adjourn the meeting. Anybody second
I
it?
second.
I'm sorry, your name?
Estela Rodriguez.
Estela Rodriguez, second the motion for the meeting to adjourn. Everybody, thank you for being here.